Hey guys, how's it going? Josh here. So, obviously, there hasn't been one of these for a few months. I'm going to try getting them cranked out again because there's only a few left. As you can see on the screen, I'll have all the previous ones on there throughout the whole thing. So, it'll transition as this video goes along, and there should be a link over it. So, you just kind of click on it. So, you just go to each one. We also have a playlist, too, that you can check out that has them all in chronological order. People seem to really like them. So, that's why I'm going to finish them out. I wrote all of them out actually, like I think August of 2015. No, it was actually way before that. Basically, when I made like the Green Lantern one, I had them all laid out. The problem has just been writing the more detailed versions of them, which is what you guys hear. I also do this all in one take, also, because these usually end up being so long. It's such a pain in the ass to edit. And with my laptop, I don't have the same editing software I had on my desktop, so I can't really have the same amount of detail with editing. So it's very much in one take. So I'm going to try getting this done in a timely manner. Hopefully you guys like it. I mean, hopefully everyone that was watching the previous ones are still here and watching, watch this one. And obviously, as always, just imagine the story I'm telling you. It says, DC screenplay, whatever have you, but I'm not really writing a screenplay as much as I guess I'm writing a story treatment. The screenplay is just more of like a name at this point that's added on to all these, if you guys are curious about that. So without further ado, let's get into it. This is for Shazam, and we start off with a 16-year-old Billy Batson, an orphan recently adopted from Fawcett City, and his foster family, the Jones family, living in Metropolis. It's the beginning of summer at this time, clear warm skies, and Billy unpacks his stuff with his foster parents, telling him to come downstairs. When he comes down, he sees his foster parents with 3 tickets in their hand for a Superman festival in memory of their fallen guardian. If you've been following my stories so far, at this point I've already done Death of Superman, because this is like the 24th one, so I've done a whole universe at this point, really. And yeah, so Superman's dead at this point, and I really wanted Superman to be dead before I do Shazam, so you could really have, because in the comics nowadays, Shazam usually is kind of, usually he looks up to Superman nowadays in the comics, so I really wanted to use that and really have Superman be an example for Shazam to follow, since the comics like doing that anyways. I thought it'd just fit, it'd fit well in a movie kind of sense, instead of just having them both side by side next to each other and people just debating who's copying who. So moving on though, this is a memory of their fallen guardian, and Billy, who's a huge Superman fan, gladly goes to the festival, obviously amazed, when he reaches the heart of the festival, obviously Metropolis is going all out for this. I mean, it's in honor of Superman, but I mean, at the center of it, we see a Superman statue, in the kind of Metropolis center, and there's water surrounding it, like fountains, and it's beautiful, and also has a wishing well, and Billy takes, a quarter out he has, and makes a wish, saying he hopes one day to help the world become a better place like Superman did. And across the sea, with all these people around in the festival, we see a kind of elderly like man watching Billy with a spark of lightning in his eyes before he disappears. I definitely recommend you guys watch my Wonder Woman ones, and I guess my Superman ones, and my Justice League ones before this one, because the last Wonder Woman one definitely goes into a setup for Shazam, to help kind of clear that up. So now we have a 1-year time skip, and at this point, summer again, Billy's out of school. He's volunteering at a nearby homeless shelter to stay busy. We find out, he's been volunteering here for several months, growing a relationship with some of the people that come to the shelter and the people that work at the shelter. And the manager, specifically named Zeke, walks with Billy, around a nearby park every day, telling Billy stories of myth and heroes of old while they help the homeless, passing out sandwiches, things like that, just cleaning up the area in general, to make it look nice. And like I said before, Zeke, he tells Billy stories of myth and heroes, and especially the Greek ones. And Zeke also reveals he's an orphan too, from Europe, by the sound of his accent. And Billy has an, so they kind of connect on that. And Billy has an interest in history, always eagerly listening to Zeke's stories, especially because Zeke has such a level of detail that you don't really find in things like Wikipedia or like your average textbook, which amazes Billy, obviously. And if anyone read the New 52 Wonder Woman, you know what I'm hinting at here by calling this guy Zeke. So after one walk, however, Zeke falls weak without explanation, recommending that they take the subway back to the shelter because he doesn't think he'd be able to do their usual walk. And when they get to the subway, an empty train arrives, and they get on the train which takes him, instead of to their usual location, to a strange place Billy has never seen before. And at this moment, Zeke asks Billy to follow him through this location. So, initially skeptical, Billy at this point trusts Zeke enough to follow him into this strange place. In walking around, he sees, ancient creatures of myths, such as Cerberus, Minotaur, and, oddly, 7 advanced-looking containers, each marked an unknown origin, which obviously is, probably, if a good director can make this movie, obviously you could just imagine how cool a moment like this would be. I'm thinking like, in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, when they first walk in the wardrobe, or like the Bridge to Terabithia, when they first enter Terabithia. It's kind of like one of those moments. So moving on though, we eventually reach a throne room, and Billy decides to finally ask, what's going on, because at this point they've been walking around for a while, and Billy's really confused, and Zeke just sits on the throne that is in this throne room, and goes from being a man in a t-shirt and jeans into a larger figure with a more majestic look, accompanied by electricity crackling, all around his body, as if his body is a vessel for, uncontainable power. And then he reintroduces himself to Billy, saying he's not actually Zeke, but his real name is Zeus, the former king of, the Olympians and former skyfather of the Olympians. And Billy, shocked by this reveal, says nothing, looking in utter disbelief, and Zeus explains the reasoning to bringing Billy to the heart of Olympus, which is, I guess, where they're at, which he also calls the Rock of Eternity, because a great threat is coming, one that hasn't been witnessed since ancient civilizations. And Billy asks Zeus, why Zeus needs him, to which Zeus says that he's been watching, Billy for a while. Earth needs a new champion, especially a champion of magic and a champion of the gods. And he's been watching, Billy for the past year, and is amazed by his compassion and his willingness to help others above all else. Something that you don't really see in, just every other, person, so to speak. Kind of Zeus being a little kind of cynical in a way, yet optimistic at the same time. So Billy doesn't really understand what Zeus is trying to say, to which, Zeus kind of shows him a vision of the past, featuring multiple godheads making a pact. And the pact basically goes that they won't directly interact with mortals and mortal affairs anymore. However, they can maintain a tether Earth, to humanity through a champion. Each pantheon will pick a champion to represent their pantheon on Earth, gifted with the ability to become the god's conduit to help others, as the gods will it, essentially. However, this is a huge deal because the conduit must be mortal and accept the power that bounds them to the gods for life, making it both a blessing and a curse. And this is what makes it a thing where it's like the gods just don't give people randomly this power, because it binds them, like their essence essentially, to this mortal's essence, which obviously makes them vulnerable in a sense. So it's a pretty big deal for the gods, as much as it's a big deal for the mortals. All right, let's keep going. So Billy's first question is, why not use Wonder Woman? Because it's pretty common knowledge Wonder Woman has some sort of connection to the Greek gods at this point in this universe, to which Zeus responds that she's his daughter, and with her divinity, it makes her unable to possess the curse of Shazam. Billy then asks why, to which, Zeus says, like I said before, like why, as in why him, Zeus reiterates what he says before. His compassion for others and just general ambition to do the right thing is not common in many other people. And Zeus, using his time as Zeke, was really able to confirm, what he's saying, at least, in regards to Billy. And, he doesn't really go into why he chooses a kid, but I like to think it's because he can really grow into his powers. It's not really a thing where, like, he's in his 40s, he just gets powers and he has to, like, leave a whole life behind him kind of thing. With this, Billy can really grow into his powers, and he won't really have to leave his life behind as much as his life can develop with, these new abilities, so to speak, if that makes any sense. So the last question Billy asks is, why now? Which, makes Zeus look down in some obvious shame. And Zeus explains that, long ago the Egyptians actually selected a champion named Teth Adam. His duty was to protect Egypt and Kadak, along with other, neighboring lands from threats. However, Teth became, drunk with his power, wanting to use it for personal vendettas and revenge, more so than justice. And this bothered some of the other godheads, but Zeus, saw good in Adam, because Zeus, unlike many other gods, committed many mistakes. Just a lot of mistakes if you know Greek mythology. And to help put Adam in check with the other pantheons, Zeus offered some of his power alongside the Egyptian god's power, which obviously made Adam more powerful than ever, and eventually he decided to rebel against his providers, earning him a banishment to the far side of the universe. Nowadays, fueled with this rage, Adam has returned, projected to reach Earth in about a day or so. So Billy, after thinking about it for some time, agrees to be the new champion. However, under one condition. Zeus asks what this condition is, to which Billy says he will take upon the curse of Shazam as long as he doesn't have to kill anybody, because Superman, his personal hero, would never approve of that, and Billy wants to be a hero for the people just like Superman was. So Zeus, after some consideration, respects his wishes, manifesting his Master Bolt. This is where it kind of connects to my Wonder Woman one I did before, because if you know anything at this point, the Master Bolt basically contains all the powers of Shazam. So, moving forward, striking Billy with the Master Bolt, it now tethers Billy's essence with Zeus's essence. Confused at first, Billy asks why he doesn't feel, any different, to which Zeus replies, "You need to say Shazam, but with purpose." Billy then gives out a strong yelling Shazam, which could be a really cool movie moment actually, especially with the right music and stuff, transforming Billy from, a 17-year-old kid at this point into, a tall, muscular, heroic figure. When I think of the look for Shazam, I think based on New 52 look. I really enjoy the New 52 look, even though, trust me, I do like the pre-New 52 look too, but I mean, he's going to be called Shazam. I just feel like it'd be easier to do New 52. Plus, I always liked the whole, kind of, animated lightning look they had going on versus just a static yellow lightning bolt. I just think it's really cool. So, moving on, in this new form, Billy is then sent to an abandoned field by Zeus to test his new abilities out and also get used to them. Because obviously Zeus doesn't want him to go in there, just kind of fresh out of the water, have no idea what's going on. Alright, so, with that said, Billy, he sees a mountain in the distance and decides to run towards it. However, he has no idea how fast he really is. And he quickly speeds at, blinding speeds, lightning speeds, into the mountain, crashing through the whole mountain. Amazed at his newfound speed and durability, he does it again while having a laugh, because, he's still like a kid, so he's going to have some fun with it. Continuing the race around, just kind of, have the time of his life, basically, Billy eventually sees a figure approaching him, from great, distance with great speed. Billy tries waving at it before realizing it's Wonder Woman, who flies towards him, landing a powerful punch right at him, sending him into the earth, which causes a large crater to form. Obviously, because, Wonder Woman, she packs a pretty powerful punch. So before Billy could say a word, Wonder Woman immediately ties him up with her lasso, demanding to know who he is, because all she knows is that she senses powerful magic emanating from him, which is, similar to Zeus's magic. And obviously at this point, Wonder Woman doesn't really have the best of history with people kind of like Billy in this sense, basically. So, with, the lasso around him, Billy tells her the whole truth and everything, nothing but the truth, which causes Zeus to appear before them both. Zeus, a little upset at Diana, gets over that, seeing an opportunity here. And that opportunity is that Diana will teach Billy the ways of the gods, at least the gods of Olympus, while also preparing him for Teth Adam's, reemergence. Because I guess the Egyptian gods don't really care, honestly. They're just kind of done with humanity at this point, especially because humanity doesn't even, recognize them anymore. They just see them as a relic. So it's kind of basically up to Zeus. Basically Teth Adam is Zeus's kind of responsibility. So Zeus declares that, they'll train in Olympus as time operates differently, giving them the, maximum amount of time basically to use with a small window of time they actually have left. So at this point, a bolt of lightning hits both of them, teleporting them into Olympus. And Diana starts by assessing Billy's strength and power, asking him to hit her shield as hard as he can. Billy does so, denting the indestructible shield that Wonder Woman has made by Hephaestus, which obviously impresses Diana. She then asks him to lift and hold one of Hercules' training pillars, which Billy does so for a few hours with little strain, which shocks Diana, as the power he possesses almost rivals Zeus himself, and reminds her of Superman's abilities when, bathing in the rays of the sun. So I thought it would be a really cool moment, if this was an actual movie, where when Billy's holding this pillar, right? If Diana looks at him and it's just kind of amazed, and then kind of transitions into a similar kind of memory that Diana has of Superman holding the Daily Planet globe or something like that. Just something to parallel the two in a way. Because a big kind of thing I'm going for here is that Shazam will be kind of the successor of Superman in this sense, which, you know, is really easy to do considering the similarities between their abilities. So, like I said before, you know, obviously this reminds Diana a bit of Superman. And when they finish more physical tests, Diana finally begins teaching him hand-to-hand combat, with, you know, Billy focusing on control of his powers, as, you know, after all this is said and done, you know, he's stuck with this. So he needs to learn how to control it, because one punch from him or one wrong move from him could really kill someone, especially someone lacking divine-like durability. We see, you know, Billy almost soaking in everything Diana's teaching him like a sponge, until Zeus tells him Adam has arrived on Earth. You know, Teth Adam, Black Adam has arrived on Earth. I don't really call him Black Adam though. I just call him Teth Adam because, you know, he never really, I mean, I couldn't find a way to give him the moniker, if that makes sense, of Black Adam versus just calling him Teth Adam. So Teth Adam arrives on Earth, and, you know, Zeus tells them and teleports them back to Earth, afterwards looking noticeably tired and weak. Back on Earth, specifically Metropolis, Billy and Wonder Woman find Adam interrogating people looking for Superman, which confuses, because obviously Teth Adam's a little confused. I mean, all he knows is that this champion resides in this general area. He doesn't know exactly where, he doesn't know exactly who he is, but obviously he knows this is a being of great power, and the only being of great power in Metropolis that he knows about is Superman. And this is, I mean, totally understandable, because, I mean, he hasn't been on Earth for centuries, so he obviously doesn't know, you know, Superman's really dead. He just knows Superman belongs to Metropolis. So Billy and Wonder Woman, obviously, like I said before, they, you know, appear in Metropolis. They see, you know, Teth Adam interrogating people and, you know, causing some damage, things like that, making a little ruckus, trying to get Superman out, trying to find Superman, thinking that Superman's the champion, which obviously, as soon as Billy sees this, he kicks into high gear, using that speed of Mercury he has, flying into Adam, kind of tackling him all the way into the flat grasslands of Africa. So that gives you kind of a sense of how fast Billy is. And remember, Billy doesn't know really he doesn't have full control yet of all of his powers. So, you know, this might have just been a fluke of his powers. You know, he just used a little too much speed, a little too much strength, whatever have you. I'm sure he wasn't intending to go to Africa. But at this, you know, point of time, you know, when he kind of like leap tackles Black Adam to Africa, Adam smacks Billy off of him, demanding to know where the wizard is. It takes Billy a while to realize what's going on here, because it turns out Adam calls Zeus the wizard. He doesn't call him Zeus. Billy doesn't tell Adam where he is, instead asking him to leave Earth peacefully and not cause any more trouble, to which Adam obviously doesn't decide to do that, starting a battle between him and Billy. Billy is able to get like a few hits in at first, but Adam quickly overpowers him, and, you know, using his vast experience in combat that Billy doesn't have, is able to basically pulverize Billy to some degree. Even though, you know, with the brief training he got from Wonder Woman, Billy is able to kind of just like stay afloat essentially. And, you know, this goes on for a little while of time, but luckily Wonder Woman's able to show up eventually and knock Adam high into the atmosphere, which gives her and Billy some time to formulate a strategy. Billy wants to reason with him, but only after he's restrained by the lasso, because until then there's really no guarantee that he just won't start fighting again, because at least with the lasso, Billy knows he'll be contained, because Billy himself wasn't able to break the lasso. So with a combined effort of Billy and Wonder Woman, they're able to, you know, and this would be like a really cool fight scene to see done. I'm not going to go into like specific details like, oh, this kick here, this punch here. I'll just tell you, you know, all three of them fight. And I mean, if you want to kind of envision it, think of the Superman Shazam animated movie they made with the Return of Black Adam, kind of like that, but replace Superman with Wonder Woman, basically. So that fight kind of happens, and eventually they're able to restrain Black Adam with the lasso. And, you know, after this, they ask him, you know, what are you doing, basically? Why'd you return? Things like that. And Adam reveals why he's truly here, which is that he wants to protect his people. And he kind of goes into his origin a little bit, which is long ago, before he received the curse of Shazam, he was a poor slave. Sick of this persecution that he was, you know, going through, Adam prayed to the gods every night to kill their cruel pharaoh, allowing freedom to, you know, freedom from slavery, essentially, among other things. When Teth Adam eventually received his powers, he killed the pharaohs of Kadak and Egypt so he could rule fairly and just, which actually formed a dual kingdom between the two. So they kind of were united under Black Adam, or under Teth Adam. Alright, let's keep going. Like I said before, I do this all in one take. So it's a lot of words, a lot of talking. So, like I said before, he kind of unites these two kingdoms, and everything's going great. However, people start worshiping him instead of the gods, which breeds tensions between the two of them, between the gods and Teth Adam. Like I said before, this was a big reason why the Egyptians were kind of just like, fuck it, eventually. Because, I mean, the humans just stopped acknowledging them. You know, they just stopped acknowledging their divinity, essentially, and stopped worshiping them, which obviously doesn't bode well with gods. So, especially with their big egos and all that stuff. So, his rebellion against the gods was actually not to overthrow them, but to keep them from taking his powers away, as that would leave the kingdom he had created, vulnerable, leading it to corruption once again and injustice, which is the last thing, obviously, Teth Adam wants after working so hard to get this kingdom and, to bring this justice to his people and things like that. So this stuns Billy and Wonder Woman, as obviously they had no idea, and they remove the lasso, and Billy flies to the Pyramid of Giza with Adam, leaving Wonder Woman as she responds to a Justice League call. So at the pyramid, Billy explains, how history has progressed over the centuries, and reveals that Kadak and Egypt split, but Kadak to this day still, bases their laws and their way of life off Adam's example and dedication to his people from, way centuries ago when he was, their ruler. So showcasing great wisdom, Billy states that, we're given a life to live. Not a good life, not a bad life, just a life. And it's up to us if we want it to be good or bad by how we live it. Basically telling Adam that he can still lead and protect his people, or become a monster, this opposite of what they remember him as. So with this wisdom, Adam tells Billy that he no longer has any ill will against him, but that he still does have issues with the wizard, the wizard being Zeus. And at this moment, a bolt of lightning strikes the pyramid, manifesting Zeus before Adam and Billy. Acknowledging his failure in the treatment of Adam, Zeus apologizes to Adam, afterwards stating that his time has run out. His essence then splits between Adam and Billy, bonding them as a family of Shazam. So you see what I'm doing here? Kind of the inception of the Marvel family. And Adam then flies away, deciding to return to Kadak, as the Egyptian has progressed, far well enough without his aid, but vows to see his brother, which is now what he's calling Billy again. So I hope that's cool. And now wrapping it up, Wonder Woman appears again before Billy, applauding him on a job well done, even saying that Superman would be proud of him. And at this moment, Wonder Woman gives Billy a card to open once he gets back home to Metropolis, telling Billy at the same time that he should be Metropolis's new guardian, taking up the, taking up the mantle, you could say, from Superman. So not being the new Superman by calling himself Superman, but, being the new protector of Metropolis, leaving, or kind of going in where Superman, obviously left off when he died. So Billy thanks Wonder Woman for all of her support and help, and returns to Metropolis, and returns to his house, obviously to his foster family, who have, they've been worried sick, having a police report sent out and everything, so that gets resolved, and, we can end the movie with Billy eating dinner with his foster family, kind of think like an Ant-Man, where they're just all having dinner as a family, before Billy then heads up to his room, opening the card from Wonder Woman, which he sees inside as an invitation to join the Justice League. And the movie will end, or I would have the movie end with Billy just looking up from reading the card, saying Shazam. And that's it. So I hope you guys liked it. Like I said before, I definitely recommend you guys check out my other ones. People seem to like them overall. I would like to think you guys would like this one too. Comment below, letting me know what you guys thought below. Sorry I took so long making this. I'm not going to try taking so long. Honestly, I would love to get the next one out next weekend. So if you'd like to see that, let me know below. Like I said before, let me know what you guys thought, and I'll see you guys later.